What's up? It is Saturday night. We are live finally. After being pre-recorded the last couple of weeks, but we are live. We are here. The first round of the Cartoon Classic continues. It is a big one tonight. It is one that I'm sure a lot of people weren't expecting to see until the semifinals or the final, but you're getting it now because that's the way the seeds work. It is Simpsons versus X-Men the Animated Series. Of course, I am Dutchy, joined as always by MoneyE.
What's up?
Shawn is back with us.
Hello.
And our wild card Dave.
Hello. How's it going, everybody?
Dave the wild card.
Now it's wild card Dave. You switch it around. But this is so the Cartoon Classic rolls on. We already know Pokemon, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Rocket Power are moving on to the second round. Joining, obviously, Batman the Animated Series and Kim Possible, who got the first round buys. We don't know who anybody's facing yet. We might get a kind of an inkling as to who it's going to be, of who, or what one of the second round matches is going to be tonight. More on that in a little bit. But we got the number 4 seeded X-Men the Animated Series taking on the number 12 seeded Simpsons. Simpsons won their way in, after a wild card round win over Recess. So now they beat up one Disney show already to get into the tournament. Now they're going to beat, X-Men technically wasn't Disney back in the day, but now because Disney owns Marvel, I'm kind of counting it as a Disney show, Hey, Mark, how you doing? So that is tonight's battle. And for anybody that needs a refresher on the rules, it's got my 3 judges here. We're going based on 7 categories: theme song, animation quality, originality and creativity, characters, episodes, humor and entertainment value, cultural impact, and legacy. It's best of 7. So first cartoon to win 4 categories is going to win this whole thing, or win this matchup and move on. If the Simpsons win here and SpongeBob beats Heathcliff, then the Simpsons are facing Kim Possible in the second round.
Wow.
That part I know. What happens if X-Men the Animated Series wins? I have no clue. But we'll figure that out. All right. I am just hosting it, so I'm going to ramble on about each category for a couple minutes, and I'm going to toss it to the guys. They're going to give they're going to say who they think did it better in each category. And like I said, first show to 4 category wins, moves on to the next round. The loser has to wait till the next tournament and hope that they get picked to participate. They're not going to have to wait long because this is going to be over like either last week of June or first week of July. So then we'll move on to the next one. But all right, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to start as long as everybody's ready.
Yes,
if
sir.
not, hurry up and get ready. But we're going to start with theme song. Again, this is another one of those instances. Neither theme song has words, but they're both very the Simpsons theme song is very iconic because you have that The Simpsons and all that, and the orchestra playing. Yeah, hey, watch it. You don't want to get copyrighted.
Technically, wouldn't him screaming and when he was about to get hit by the car technically have words in it?
It's not singing a verse.
Fair enough.
So, and then X-Men, you have that you have the no words, but you have the action sequences and them introducing all the mutants. Okay, so it's two very different styles. I mean, yes, there's an action sequence in The Simpsons where you're introducing the family member. Marge always tries to run over Homer with her car. When you start watching the episodes, you figure out why she would want to do such a thing.
Not wrong.
But so we're gonna go ahead and wild card. I'm gonna start with you. Who gets the edge in the theme songs, Dave? Simpsons or X-Men?
I'm gonna have to go with The Simpsons.
Okay. Expand on that a little bit, please.
Like you said, it was iconic. So like right now, I can remember it off the top of my head how it goes. The
Yeah.
animated series of X-Men. It doesn't like come to me like that. So I mean, whatever I favored more is what I'm gonna go with.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's how Eric tried to eliminate SpongeBob at least 3 times.
Well, listening to. I mean, X-Men wasn't bad, but
yeah. So, all right, Eric.
I'm going with Simpsons because, as Dave said, it's iconic, and whenever you hear that theme song, you know what it is right away. And not everybody likes X-Men. More people know Simpsons than X-Men.
Right. Shawn, just for entertainment's sake.
Simpsons. Same reasons. Like I can literally play that entire theme song and exactly like the animations that are going on through it more than I could X-Men.
People have that as ringtones.
Yeah,
they do.
So, all right, 1 down. Simpsons is up 1-0.
It's our boy Kenneth.
Yeah, he said X-Men all the way. Well, not all the way here, Kenneth. I mean, they're down 1-0. But all right, so we're gonna move on to animation quality. The Simpsons animation quality didn't start out great. It started at very new. It was like very newbie, but it got better over the years because obviously it's been running for 30 something years. So, it gets better over time.
Mm-hmm.
X-Men had that Marvel animation, and obviously, when X-Men 97 came out, they improved it, obviously, but two very distinct, like X-Men's animation was always good, stayed the same. It took The Simpsons a few years for the animation to get good.
Yeah.
And X-Men, like all those battle scenes and that animation and all the action sequences. I mean, I don't really have a problem with either one. Like I said, Simpsons would get better. I mean, after 35 years, unless you're AEW, you get better. AEW in 35 years will not get better unless they're owned by somebody else.
Dang.
Unless that somebody else is, owns any of the sports teams that are out in Arizona, then it will not get better. Anyway. So Shawn, I'm going to start with you first. Who takes the animation category, Simpsons or X-Men?
Well, it's like you said, Simpsons over time got better, but I think I got to go with X-Men because of the battle scenes and the more design that it took. And I mean, that's basically all I can really say is X-Men stuck to what they had. I liked the animation more of like how it was a comic book.
Right.
But not
because
so
it did
clean.
start out as a comic book.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like they kept it like they had that white accent lighting behind like the screen kind of at times. And just the multiples of, the lasers and the explosions and all that. I think that took more time to do patiently than Simpsons could because, Simpsons didn't really have action fighting scenes like that. So I would have to pick X-Men for animation.
Okay.
Yep.
Wild card. I'm gonna go to you next.
I agree with Shawn. I think X-Men has better animation, more detail into each and every character. So I mean, it's just like, yes, Simpsons over time got better animation, but if you take it from the time that X-Men was and Simpsons was, I mean, I think X-Men got them, blows them out of the park.
Okay. Eric, it doesn't count, but go ahead anyway.
I was going Simpson. I was going X-Men anyway. So, as these guys said, the fighting scenes are just much better and more.
Oh yeah,
just better quality.
Yeah. Clintus in the chat agrees. So all right, we're at 1-1. Now
it looks easy to draw a lot of the Simpsons characters. I mean,
yeah. So we're at 1-1. This is usually where it starts to go off the rails a little bit for some shows. I mean, if you watched last week's episode, Biker Mice from Mars didn't have a chance.
That's why we did a double episode.
Yeah.
I mean, not double episode, but double.
Yeah, we did 2 battles in one.
Yeah.
Because we had time to fill. All right. Originality and creativity.
Ooh.
So The Simpsons, and I've talked about this before because I feel like I talked about it when The Simpsons took on Recess. I've always felt like The Simpsons was a more like adult version, although The Simpsons can be family friendly. The Simpsons was more of an updated version, a modern version, if you will, of the Flintstones, except for Fred Flintstone didn't have 3 kids; he only had the one. And Fred Flintstone is actually a lot smarter than Homer Simpson. But like, if Fred Flintstone had 3 kids, he would technically be Homer Simpson because it's almost like the same mindset, except for, like I said, Fred's a little smarter. X-Men, obviously, they came from a comic book.
Yeah.
But it was very creative, some of the stuff that they did. So it was very creative, some of the stuff both shows did.
Yeah.
So as far as like originality, I don't know who necessarily would get the edge on that because, like I said, I think the creators drew inspiration from other cartoons for The Simpsons. X-Men was a comic book. But as far as creativity and some of the stuff they would do, and so like this is another probably a toss-up, I think, because again, both shows, as far as originality, kind of not necessarily original, but they could both be very, very creative. So Eric, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Okay. This is hard. I keep going back and forth in my head. I'm gonna say X-Men.
Okay.
I just think their creativity was more more a lot. I mean, not a lot better, but more better.
Gotcha. All right. Wild card.
I'm actually gonna have to go with The Simpsons on originality. Because I mean they've been going for how long now? Like you said, 30 plus years. So I mean you had to keep people interested. So I mean you gotta have like different thoughts, different ideas to implement to keep people interested in watching, correct? So I mean the other shows stop. I mean,
well, yeah, because there's only so far. I mean, they stopped, but then they started back up again.
True.
All right. Shawn, that means we finally have a tie that needs to be broken.
I'm also picking The Simpsons. I don't think it's hard to be creative or original when you have a comic book to follow.
Right.
Sure.
And it's like Mark said, like the X-Men proper adaptation of source material, but the Simpsons repeated a bunch of stuff. That's why I think like X-Men had it easy because they had that stuff to follow, and I think they ran out because they only had a certain amount of villains they could fight or like save and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
The Simpsons, I think. Your comparison with the Flintstones, I thought it was more like the Jetsons at first. How when it first came out, it was kind of sourced on just Homer, but then as the show grew, you finally got like a Lisa story, a Bart story, a Marge, Grandpa, all these other characters. So like then I would say, it kind of goes with the Flintstones in a sense there too.
Yeah. And they put things from real world into their show.
Right. Yeah. I think it was it's more creative the way they did it because they had to come up with new concepts almost every episode for the first, 10 seasons, I would say. But X-Men, they had literally comic books and other stuff to follow off of. So that's why I have to give it to the Simpsons.
All right. They're up 2-1.
Not just because I like The Simpsons more.
Well,
I just want to clarify that.
Yeah. Which is one of the reasons why, like, I've been, and it's funny because, like, we all have our favorites, and I'm leaving it up to you three guys to be the judge because I don't know if I could be impartial. I'd rather just, let you three guys be the judge, and then if a lot of people get upset for, still moving on, I could just blame Eric.
My favorite already got eliminated, so I don't have a favorite.
Which one was that?
Huh? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I'll tell you at the end.
But all right, well, whatever.
It hurt my soul. I don't want to talk about it.
Uh-oh.
It's
only so many we can pick from.
I know. I mean, it got beat by a better one, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Can't hate.
Did it get beat by one of the ones competing here?
Was it Garfield?
Don't worry.
No, that's the one Eric almost cried over.
Yeah, that's the one Eric almost cried over. Yeah, it's the one that got beat by this one. Yeah.
All right, so it was Recess.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, again,
that's one of my favorites too.
Well, hell, I mean, you guys let Pokemon beat the crap out of Real Ghostbusters, and that's one of my favorites. But I can't. I'm trying to call it down the middle, Clint. We're all trying.
Hey, I called it against my favorite, man.
Yeah.
Mine didn't make it.
Yeah, exactly. But like when we do
X-Men, I even picked stuff over Rocket Power.
Yeah. Rocket Power. Here's the funny thing. If in last week's episode, now again, Rocket Power probably still would have won, but it would have gone to 7 categories if we did cultural impact and legacy before we did humor and entertainment value.
Yep.
Now, I mean, but that's one of the things is I disagreed with the fact that Rocket Power won that category. But again, this is up to you guys. I'm following what you guys say, which is why I put you in charge of the judging.
Yep.
Now, when we do the when we do the next tournament, things are going to get switched up a little bit, and I'll explain that more in the coming weeks because
I'm so excited.
I'm still like I had the idea pretty much cemented in my head because the wheels in my head have been spinning all week, and it's been getting very dirty in there because you know what happens when wheels spin on a dirt track. So, all right. So now the next category is characters.
Oof.
All right. You have the X-Men. You have Wolverine, Beast, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Rogue, Storm, Jubilee, Professor Xavier. You have Juggernaut, who's a villain, Sabretooth. You have all these other villains that pop in and out, especially when they have their story arcs. And then you have on the other side of the coin in The Simpsons, Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, Maggie, Grandpa, all the side characters. You got Mo, you got Apu, you got Chief Wiggum, you've got Mr. Burns, Principal Skinner, it's Crabapple or Crabapple, right?
I think it's Crabapple.
Yeah.
Or no, maybe you're right. It is Crabapple, but they call her Crabapple.
Yeah. You have
Can't
Millhouse,
remember.
you have Ralph Wiggum, you have Barney, you have
I'm in danger.
yeah. You have Comic Book Guy.
Oh my God.
You had the
Willie, Sideshow Bob.
who's the other criminal guy? Not Sideshow Bob, but the I can't remember his name.
And
But he's on there too.
The
In the
Simpsons.
Simpsons. He's like the biker looking one.
Oh, I can't remember his name.
Can't
Didn't the
remember.
Simpsons also
Snake,
do?
right?
Do you mean the
yeah.
Didn't they do mix-ups with other shows too? The Simpsons.
They
I
did
know.
one with
Well, they
Family
did a
Guy.
crossover with Family Guy.
Yeah. Yep. I remember that.
But the Simpsons, I think they didn't do a crossover for sure. They had just other voice actors and like celebrities appear.
Okay.
I think more than any crossover they've done.
Okay.
I mean, they
But I
might have
do remember that
referenced-
Family Guy crossover.
Well, we'll talk about that when we get to episodes.
Yeah,
But you have so many characters in The Simpsons. And by the way, they're not all just second. I mean, they're secondary characters, but they play pivotal roles in episodes.
Oh, for sure.
in the whole show.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, Krusty the Clown, Otto the bus driver,
Yeah, Mr. Burns, you know, like it was, like he said,
Smithers.
Smithers.
Okay. You have all those characters, and yet you have a small group in the X-Men, but every one of them plays a part. So it's not just about one character in either show.
Mm-hmm.
It may have started out that way for The Simpsons, but The Simpsons evolved.
Yep.
But even some of these story arcs in X-Men, you know, they revolve around the different characters. It's not just about Wolverine. It's not just about Professor Xavier. It's not just about Cyclops or Jean Grey or Storm or Jubilee or Rogue or Gambit.
Yep.
Every character in both shows has that role that they play, and they play it pretty good. Wild card, I'm going to start with you. Who takes the category?
I'm gonna have to give it to the Simpsons on this one with characters. They just have more characters. There's a lot of depth with some of the characters, and you see quite a few of them a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they're in a lot of the episodes and stuff. I gotta give it to the Simpsons.
Okay. Eric, we'll go to you next.
Simpsons too. They have more, I guess, more iconic characters, even though there's some iconic X-Men.
Yeah.
Homer, Bart, just to name the two biggest ones.
Yeah. All right, Shawn, it doesn't matter, but go ahead.
I was going to go with Simpsons too, just simply because of the vast majority of characters that they have that aren't just like a side piece character.
Right, like in for one episode and then they're
Right,
gone.
like Smithers, Mr. Burns, like, you know, like all these guys, and they're like constant. You don't just see them every 3 episodes or 4 episodes. You see them at least once an episode.
Yeah.
At least. So,
Even Homer's dad.
yeah. I mean, X-Men characters, yes, they are dope and stuff, and they're cool, and I think that's what makes them kind of relatable or like likable. That you can like draw yourself to, like, oh no, I'm a Wolverine guy.
Yeah, and they got cool abilities.
Yeah, they got cool abilities and stuff, but they don't. It's just hard because they were. I don't want to say they were limited on what characters they could do, or like their stories and how often they can make it well known. But just back in the day, even through the comic books, it doesn't do that.
Right.
You know, it's more selective, I would say. I should have said.
Yeah. All right. So 3-1 Simpsons. If they win this next category, they're done. Or the X-Men's done. And Simpsons will move on. Now, it's not going to be an easy category, though, because it's episodes. And I know Simpsons has had some very iconic episodes because they've had some very iconic people voice characters. But you also have to look at the side where X-Men's story... not yet, Len. You have to look at X-Men's side where a lot of their stories are episodic and it's all these big story arcs.
Mm-hmm.
Most in the Simpsons over the years, a lot of the episodes were like, and this was also a big issue with a lot of cartoons, is, you know, a lot of the stuff that happened in like a previous episode, they don't remember. Or like it never really gets brought up again. There's a lot more story arcs.
To X-Men.
There's a lot more story arcs in X-Men. Wrong show, Len. And in X-Men than there is in the Simpsons. So, you know, that's another thing you have to take into account. Yes, I know some of the Simpsons' most iconic episodes, like when Rodney Dangerfield came in and played Mr. Burns' long-lost son. There was an episode today where Homer actually did like a drug trial or something and became really smart, so he started to connect with Lisa. But then he became so smart that everybody started to hate his guts. So he had Moe perform surgery on him to where Moe just shoved a crayon up his nose far enough up into where it really messed with his brain. Which, by the way, if you want a surgery performed on you, then you better go to Moe. Not only can he pour you a good beer, but he can do a nice brain surgery for you. But like, but that's something you have to take in it because, you know, look at some of the X-Men story arcs, like when they did the saga of the Phoenix, where Jean Grey became the Phoenix. You know, during a lot of in the beginning of a lot of the episodes, it was previously on X-Men. They never did a previously on The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I think they did when they who killed Mr. Burns, didn't they?
That might have been like 2 episodes, but what I'm saying is that like it's a continuous story.
Oh, no, yeah.
As far as like X-Men goes, like each episode, and you know, going forward has something to do with like the
previous.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah. So, Shawn, I'm going to go to you first. Who takes the category?
I'll give it to X-Men. Just because of what you said.
Okay. Eric?
I'm going Simpsons because you last this long. There must be something right about the episodes.
All right.
I know there's more storytelling in X-Men, but there must be something.
And that, and you know, a lot of Simpsons fans that you want to keep your tongue up their butts.
Keep going.
He almost said yes, so you know it's true. All right, wild card, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one to the animated series of X-Men. I just like the action. It's action-packed. There's fighting, stuff like that. You know, it's entertaining to me, so the episodes are more fun for me to watch. So that's why I'm going to pick them.
All right, so X-Men wins the category. Eric tried, so whoever he's trying to impress, that's a Simpsons fan. He tried, but he failed.
I tried to give my point of view.
Yeah. Oh no, I got your point of view. I just hit you with another. I wasn't. See, you were starting to say yes. Because the word yes came out of your mouth after I said that, and I was just joking. I was being a jerk, but
I didn't even know what you were saying.
And
I was
then-
trying
and
to
then-
talk.
He said,
and then you said yeah, but then once you realized what you were saying yeah to, you tried to backtrack.
No, I honestly didn't know what you were saying. But I was trying to say what I was saying.
excuses.
It's pretty much what it is, because there's no way you did not know as big a mouth as I had. There is no way you did not know what was coming out of my mouth. You're staring right at me.
Got him.
So you knew,
Clip
and you were
it.
about to admit it. When yeah came out of your mouth, but then you backtrack because you did not want to admit it.
Oh man.
And then
It's okay, Eric.
so, but it is what it is. X-Men still won the category.
Oh well,
Damn.
whatever.
Got him. Called him out. That was
But-
great.
Yeah, well, I had to.
It's okay, Eric. We still love you.
Yeah. Oh no, I still love you. I just have to. I just had to.
Isn't that what
kinda-
Slim
I
Shady
just threw
says?
that in there to screw you. I didn't think you were gonna say yeah.
I didn't even know what I said yeah to. So
Yeah.
We know. We know.
Which makes it easy. Which made it easier to even further throw you under the bus. Because if you don't know what you're saying, but even if you don't know what you're saying, yeah, too, you still said it, and then I can go off on that for about another 20 minutes. But I don't feel like it, because if I start cursing, then it defeats the purpose of this being a family show. All right, Simpsons is up 3-2. They could still win if they win this category, which is very likely that they will. All right, let's see what Mark has to say here. Simpsons lasted so long because they put it as a cornerstone of adult animation. They canceled X-Men because of demographic age up, and producers could never think that 30 years later we would care. Well, I mean, that's true. But all right, so next category is humor and entertainment value. Either category can technically take this. Simpsons, I know, is known a lot more for their humor. So, the people who, Eric may or may not be trying to impress, could get their way, and Simpsons could win the category because they're probably better at that category. But you also have to think too, Wolverine could be be
not funny,
humor.
not gay.
Why is your wife disagreeing with me?
Yelling at William. She's moody today.
Don't show her this. And Eric, don't make that statement into a short. We don't want to sell Shawn down the river.
I'm clipping it.
We don't sell out one of our own unless it makes for good humor and entertainment value, like I just kind of just did to you. But I'm in character, I could do that. So anyway, humor and entertainment value. Both shows had some humor to it. Probably Simpsons more than. Yes, I'm getting to that, Len. There is humor in X-Men because Wolverine has a very dry sense of humor.
Humor spelled with an O.
Dang. Calling Raven out.
Yeah,
Sorry.
please do.
Learn how to spell.
No, just let them know for further
No,
endeavors.
I do that to people in the Discord chat all the time. When they're
Yeah.
trying to sling insults at me and then they misspell a word, I was like, maybe you should pay attention to your keyboard typing more than you do your mom.
But
No.
Danielle disagrees.
Yeah.
She's taking Len's side on this one. He didn't have to learn how to spell. He's fine.
Yeah.
So,
I knew what you meant. I'm sorry.
So, all right. But no, there is humor. It's a very dry sense of humor that Wolverine and Gambit have, but the entertainment is more in the battle scenes and the action sequences.
And the storyline.
Yeah, that too. Simpsons is funny and just because the characters do funny stuff and stupid stuff. Like, there was an episode today where, there was this big snowstorm and Wiggum was writing his name in the snow, and how but he was making it look like he was peeing in the snow, but it was coming out red, and it's just like, oh my God, he's got a kidney infection, and it was a bottle of ketchup. Okay.
Or the classic Homer choking out Bart.
Yeah, well, that's child abuse. But so there was humor. The humor's more with the Simpsons. The entertainment value, I think, is more with the X-Men. It's just which one weighs more in the decision making. And with that, Dave, I'm going to go to you first.
For me, I think my decision lies more with the entertainment value, and I'm going to have to go with the animated X-Men series.
All right.
I just felt like I just more of an action-packed person. I do like some humor in my shows and whatnot, but I like action. I like seeing people fight and have superpowers and stuff like that. So that got me.
Okay. Eric, we'll go to you next.
I'm going X-Men too. I just think I like the action more than the humor, but because I think The Simpsons over time there were maybe some episodes that were kind of boring.
Right. Well, you just metaphorically flipped me the bird. Not that I'm really complaining about that, because I thought for sure you were going to pick X-Men and Shawn was going to, or you were going to pick Simpsons and Shawn was going to have to break the tie. So
I switched it up on you.
Yeah, you did. Like I said, you metaphorically flipped me the bird, which is okay. Shawn, it doesn't matter, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I prefer humor, so I was going to pick The Simpsons.
Yeah, it just depends, and that's the funny thing of having the category be humor and entertainment value. It's like you have when the two shows going against each other, one excels in one part and the other excels in the other part. It's like, all right, which one weighs more, or which one weighs more?
Yeah,
like which one overpowers the other? All right, I had a feeling this was going to happen up until about 3 categories ago. Then I started losing hope, and then X-Men started to come back.
Came back from 3-1.
Huh?
Came back from 3-1.
Yeah. Now the problem is that this category is technically made for one of the shows, and it's the show where all the characters are yellow, not just one of the main ones. Cultural impact and legacy. Now, there can be something to say about, by the way, Dave, the Ottawa Senators are up 1-0.
Not for long.
And Vegas did come back and win in overtime. So that series is tied 2-2.
Going back to Vegas.
Hey, I did say Ottawa might get one. I did say they might get one.
Yeah. Well, because they're on the side of the cliff right now. They have to win.
Yeah, they're playing stupid.
It's do or die, but I doubt they do.
They're definitely like that one team where you're like, yeah, they just kind of made it in. They don't know what to do when they're.
Well, and that's the funny thing. They made it. They're the 6th seed.
Yeah.
They were ranked 6th. There's 8 teams that go in, so they were obviously better than 2 of the other teams that went in, but not really.
But nope. Joke's on you. Got him.
All right. So cultural impact and legacy. And it seems like that this category is kind of made for the Simpsons. 36-year run. Well, it's in its 36th season. Obviously had a movie, multiple video games, obviously crap ton of merch. So did X-Men. Because you figure, okay, the animated series, but you had the comic books beforehand. You had the toys that came out, that the action figures, which I know a lot of kids collect those. A lot of people still collect them because they still make X-Men figures. Because X-Men are still, at least Wolverine's still popular to this day. They had the new show that came out, so they're still relevant. Mm-hmm. So the legacies for both shows. Now, one fan base might be bigger than the other, but also, too, X-Men's part of Marvel. There are a lot of Marvel fans out there. Now, so it's okay. It's like, all right, well, which one do you prefer? Which one has it? Because it's kind of hard to judge which one has the bigger fan base.
Yeah, because some of these kids, I mean, and some people, like grown adults, some of these heroes on X-Men are their favorite heroes.
Yeah.
So, like, you never know.
All right. Somebody just asked, what is this? Well, this is a cartoon. If you are just joining us for the first time, these are cartoon battles. We're doing a single elimination tournament. This is the Simpsons versus X-Men, the animated series. So, welcome aboard if you're a first-time viewer. And it's pretty much, this explains itself. So, all right. Now, but now, like, which, it's like, okay, so which has the bigger fan base? Is it the Simpsons or is it X-Men? But X-Men also, too, is part of that Marvel fan base. And especially now when, the show came back as X-Men 97, okay, so, the fan base kind of got revived. But who has made the bigger cultural impact and who has left the bigger legacy? Eric, I'm going to go to you first.
Oh, shit. Sorry. I'm going to go with Simpsons because it is 36 years and the legacy of all the characters.
All right, wild card.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with X-Men. I just think their impact is greater. I mean, I love Wolverine. I mean, he's one of my favorite heroes. And also, I just think, like, you see kids dressing up as some of these heroes, and villains. I mean, you see people dress up as Magneto and all that. But my opinion, think it's X-Men.
All right, Shawn, I believe this is this is not the first time that you've had to be the tiebreaker. Matter of fact, I believe we have it on record. It happened last week.
Yeah.
By the way, it was also you also helped pull through your all-time favorite cartoon. But what say you here? I know how you feel.
Yeah.
But what do you say? And you can be honest. Your name's not Eric, so I'm not going to rip on you.
No, I know.
It's a hard
special privilege because
it's hard
because I love you.
It's hard because both of you guys made good points. Like, the Simpsons, I think their longevity should matter for 30 plus years, but then you take into the factor of X-Men and like how Dave said of like costumes and stuff.
Comic-Cons.
But yeah, Comic-Cons, you know, the bigger movies being attached to Marvel. But I don't ever listen to Dave, so I'm going with the Simpsons. Because I honestly think longevity matters more than
Okay. Granted, you say that. So who's better, LeBron or Jordan?
two different eras.
No, you
Jordan.
said longevity. Don't
Jordan.
so,
Two different eras.
what, come on.
So
you
technically,
can't say that
so are these because X-Men ended back in the 90s. Simpsons is technically still going, but also too, X-Men still had that popularity in the 2000s. But there's still like, you know, you say two different eras, but people still say that, you know, even though it's two different eras, people still say, oh, Tom Brady was better than Joe Montana.
Mm-hmm.
Fudge, no. Tom Brady would not last getting creamed like.
Dude, I watched Tom. I watched Tom Brady get creamed, bro.
No, I know what you're saying.
That's what people say, but so
Yeah,
like
well, people are dumb.
you know, you say okay, and again, you're allowed to say whatever you're allowed to feel however you want. And now, obviously, Simpsons is one of your favorite shows, so anybody that gets upset by you know, saying that, they have to get over it because you are. At the end of the day, yes, it does come down to, okay, I like this show better. It is my opinion. This idiot has me on his podcast to give my opinion. My opinion is, because it's my favorite show, Simpsons moves on over X-Men, which is fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
But also too, like when somebody says, okay, well, who's different, you know, who's better, LeBron or Jordan, and you cop out and you say, oh, different eras. It's a simple yes or no answer. It's like what you just did with this. You think, well, I mean, you said that you didn't want to agree with Dave, but it's a simple answer. You pick one. In your opinion, who is better, LeBron?
You can say that for the sports debate.
Because LeBron's great because of his longevity.
I think Jordan, because he had a bigger impact.
Yeah, which is fine. And I'll say
the game.
And I'll say that too, because I like Michael Jordan better than I like LeBron James.
Yeah,
I've got nothing against LeBron, but again,
I don't like LeBron. I don't think.
He's a good ball player. I just don't like him himself.
Yes. He's a very good ball player. In like his earlier years, he was great. But now that he's like an established name, I feel like he's just taken that to like, oh, I'm LeBron, so I don't have to type of attitude. You know what I mean? That's just me.
Yeah.
I also don't really like watching the NBA. I think it's kind of boring and like.
But I was just bringing that analogy. You know, I was just trying to like see because
I would have
longevity too great.
And he's also trying to get revenge for the fact that you said, "Oh, well, I don't like your opinion." So I'm going Simpsons.
The reason I say it's different eras is because look at the physicality difference.
I mean,
you know what I mean? That's why I was like LeBron was back then. Maybe he would, and he was the same player today.
But see, there was physicality when LeBron joined the league. It changed over the years while he was in the league. I believe, like, it was a little more physical in Jordan's era.
It's it got very soft. I think.
Yeah, it did get soft. I agree.
But it's the same way. If like you put Michael Jordan up here, you know, with the way his ego was even in the '90s, if you put him up here, he'd probably be the same way as LeBron.
Oh no, Jordan would still be a dog, bro. He'd be
no. I'm saying attitude wise, not skill.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna have a debate for Jordan versus LeBron at some point, guys.
But that's the problem, though. Is like you're debating two completely separate eras of the game itself.
Yeah, and two separate positions as well.
It's like saying was Ovi better than Gretzky? And then,
I mean, numbers wise,
numbers wise, But if you put
that's
them
the
in,
thing.
side by side,
I get what you're saying. It's okay. It's like
Michaels or Bret Hart. Who was the better wrestler?
Bret Hart. I mean, but that's
Bret Hart was a
personally,
better
that's
wrestler. Michaels was a better entertainer.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and that's your opinion, but it's just like, again, I know it's normally it's like 6-1. Not everybody's going to have the same opinion. They're going to have different answers.
What if we did this? Can we do a debate? Who's better, Doug or Mindy? Yeah, change your whole aspect on this conversation.
Well, obviously, I'm going to say me because I can't really say why because we can't really bring it up on air.
It's a really bad analogy, obviously.
I know you're just.
It's like asking. And I know it's a family show, but that's like asking, do you want strep throat or do you want strep throat or do you want the measles?
Yeah.
It's like debating whose presidential assassination was better.
Yeah,
Okay.
but again, it's but again, when you're asked a question, and again, they just want your opinion. Nobody's going to care what your opinion is.
Yeah, no.
All right, because your opinion is your opinion. But like when you give an opinion and you say, okay, well, this guy said this, so I'm going to go the other way. And Eric Venmos you money, so you side with him, so he can make the people happy who he's trying to make happy by having the Simpsons go over. All right. But that is your opinion. But then you come back when when he's like, all right, MFer, who's better, LeBron or Jordan? You're like, well, I can't answer that. There's different eras. It's like, just answer the question.
Yeah.
Nah, I like making things interesting. And if Eric ever Venmoed me money, I would go against him regardless. And not pay him back. I pay him back like a portion. Like you gave me $10, you might get $250 back.
But again, so it's like it. But you are allowed to give your opinion. Who cares who you're going to make mad?
Exactly.
Well, we know that Shawn liked The Simpsons more.
Yeah,
so I figured he was going to go with that.
Like next week when we do, next week. By the way, because I want to save Scooby-Doo versus Rugrats for last.
Oh, that one's
it's the last second round match. So next week,
be the hardest one.
Huh?
That's going to be the hardest one.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, we're going to do 2 episodes. We're going to do 2 episodes next week anyway, because one's going to be live, one's going to be pre-recorded for the following week. But I want to save Scooby-Doo versus Rugrats for last, because to me, that's the more, hard one to decide. So next week's episode that will air next week live is going to be SpongeBob and Heathcliff. We already know where Eric's going to go, because Eric would much rather dress in lingerie and do a fashion show for the president of the United States than pick SpongeBob to move on in the tournament.
That's Eric, don't do it to the president, man.
So
you might end up on an aisle.
Oh.
No, he might end up in Trump's go-go cave.
Sorry, I forgot it was Trump, not Joey.
So, but
you never know. I could surprise people.
I mean, it honestly might bring in a lot of viewers.
What, Eric dancing in lingerie for Trump?
Just in general, I wouldn't put it for Trump at all.
Yeah,
he might get taken down.
Well, he likes his supporters.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it.
All right, but yeah, so we'll back out of probably poor choice of words, but we'll back out of that.
Wait, who's next? It's Rocket Power versus who?
SpongeBob versus Heathcliff.
SpongeBob, okay.
Rocket Power's already moved on.
That's your favorite show, ain't it, Doug?
We've done so many shows in the past month, I have no idea.
That's one of your favorites, right, Doug?
Heathcliff is, yeah.
Yep.
But also, too, I can recognize that, SpongeBob is more popular because Heathcliff really hasn't been seen unless people go and binge watch it on Paramount. Heathcliff hasn't really been seen in like 20 years.
True.
So, and SpongeBob has, because SpongeBob's still relevant. Now,
but do you think if Heathcliff was still running, would it still be popular with today's fans? I guess you should say.
I thought it was kind of funny. So
yeah,
I think it would be pretty good.
It has a humor to it, but again, it's all right. What does everybody prefer? We're not professionals. All right.
Yeah.
We're just giving our opinions.
Yeah, we're just giving our opinions. Eric's allowed to have his opinion.
Sometimes.
No, he's allowed to have
I'm just playing. I'm playing.
He's allowed to have his opinion, whether we disagree with it or not. I mean, I might poke fun at him a little bit, but if I didn't, then he'd be worried.
We all poke fun at everybody.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
I mean, personally, I agree. Like, I think The Simpsons, even though I enjoy X-Men, because I'm not really a Simpsons fan.
I think for me, I'm so drawn to The Simpsons because of the video games I played.
Yeah.
Of them. Moreover, I've played of X-Men. And I don't really like making that comparison because it's, show to video game comparison.
Yeah.
But like, when you're playing X-Men games, and this is just to me, like I never felt like I was a part of that game as much as I did when I was playing like The Simpsons Hit and Run. You felt like you were actually in The Simpsons because they made it more like, I don't know how to really put it. It made you feel like you're Homer or you're someone else and you're in Springfield actually meeting all the other characters. You're not just Wolverine running and fighting people. Does that make any sense?
Makes perfect sense to me.
And I think that's the same way I felt with like Rocket Power, because there was that one Rocket Power game that I played from like religiously.
Yeah. It's how I feel. It's how I feel about Ninja Turtles. Like if I were judging, which is one of the reasons why I'm not, which is one of the reasons why I pass this on to the three of you. All right. Because even though like I make fun of the fact that Eric is biased and does not want SpongeBob, all the letters he's written to Nickelodeon over the years, please take this stupid sponge off the air.
Yeah, we'll make him mad to tell him my 9-month-old thinks it's the greatest thing in the world.
Aww.
I turn that off, I turn that on, and he just starts laughing.
Yeah, because it's meant for little kids. I mean, it's also meant for adults too, but
I think it's more based off of kids, but that's just me because I watch it now and I don't enjoy it as much as I did as a kid.
Yeah.
I think I realize now that I'm older that how dumb it really was, which makes me watch it because I'm like, oh, I never caught that as a kid. That's kind of messed up.
Right. So but yeah, like if I were judging this thing, I would do my best to try to push Ninja Turtles to the final. It would be Ninja Turtles and Flintstones would have been in, and it'd be Ninja Turtles and Flintstones in the final. Because I would be like, well, you know what? I'm in charge. This is what I want. Whatever.
Right.
But I put the power in your guys' hands because I know I can't be unbiased.
I try to be. Like I try to reason with.
I mean, you guys are doing fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
I liked X-Men better in that battle, but I picked Simpsons on a couple things.
Well, yeah, because you guys recognize, all right, what category do they do better in?
Yeah, exactly.
There's just some things you can't, even if you hate the show,
you can't deny it.
You can't deny it.
Yeah.
And even Eric proved that with the Simpsons. With SpongeBob.
Yeah, he's got a couple of things on here where he picks SpongeBob over Garfield.
Even though it was hard for him to spit it out and he was choking up, but
yeah. Matter of fact, there's there's two things on here that he picked SpongeBob over Garfield. Now that's 2 of 7, but
you never know next week what I could do.
Yeah.
Dun.
And
You think
Joe.
you may know, but you don't know.
Yeah. Well, because now you're gonna try to be like, all right, I'm gonna surprise. I'm gonna surprise him. He called me out, so now I got to make this idiot look like a fool. Which, by the way, it does not take much, folks. By the way, it basically. But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, so Simpsons wins. If SpongeBob beats Heathcliff next week, then 2 of the second round matches are already going to be set. It would be SpongeBob versus Batman the Animated Series and SpongeBob. Simpsons versus Kim Possible.
Ooh.
Again, if SpongeBob wins next week. If they lose to Heathcliff, then Simpsons has to go against Batman.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right, and that's gonna be a little tougher. Like this was tough for Simpsons tonight.
Yeah. For sure.
Homer versus Kim Possible.
Yeah, which Homer Simpson beats up a teenage girl. That's fair. But all right.
I mean, she's pretty smart, and she's got her little friends, so she might pull it off.
Yeah,
she's got gadgets.
But again, we have to see if that's where we go. But yeah, so next week will be SpongeBob versus Heathcliff. Anybody got anything else before we sign off here?
No, that was a fun episode.
Yeah.
Always enjoy.
You said you were gonna.
You guys.
You said you were gonna get into a little bit of what you're gonna do for the next one at the beginning. You said you had the hamster wheel spinning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. I mean,
sorry, I have good memory.
Yeah. Well, you got me beat. So basically, it's just to kind of give like a little bit of it's definitely going to be different than what we did here. Okay. It's going to be treated more like a sports season. And so what it's basically going to be is instead of, and we're going to do like different divisions.
Okay.
But what we're going to do is instead of us having our own division, which originally that was my plan, is us having our own divisions and then like competing or whatever against us, and then maybe a few other people having divisions as well. But they don't have to do the show; they just have to. Because what I'm going to do, because what I want to do is I want to put a prize at the end of the rainbow.
Ooh.
Okay.
For the person whose cartoon in their division wins the entire thing, I'm going to put a prize at the end of the rainbow, an Amazon gift card of whatever amount of money we decide on.
Ooh la la.
I've already decided on it, but I'm also going to run it by you guys first because you guys will. I'm going to need your help paying for it.
Roger.
So we all chip in. So it would probably be like $100 Amazon gift card to make it worth people's while. So that would be $25 a piece.
That's not bad.
Okay.
I like it.
I like it.
What if we did something more based on the cartoon and anime instead of something simple, like same price range, but make it more something along the lines of what we're doing?
What do you mean?
Like they got like little statues, figurines, they a bunch of different things.
Well, I'm just saying Amazon because depending on who we get to like actually pick a division,
yeah,
an Amazon gift card is like the easiest thing that people will want to compete for.
True.
All right, not a lot of people are really going to care about cartoon or anime statues.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
I was just giving an idea. I wasn't.
Oh, no, and that's fine. And I like the idea. And if it was the 4 of us competing, then I would say go for it.
But I wasn't saying it had to be that specific thing, like that item. I was just saying any item, along those lines.
I just picked Amazon gift card because I think it's simple and I think that's something everybody wants.
Easy, common, easily usable. It's usable. Yeah. I totally understand that.
Yeah. And you guys would still be the judges and I would still be the host, but you guys wouldn't have now the four of us are all going to brainstorm and give a list of like 50 cartoons that are going to go on the draft board that everybody's going to draft from.
Now,
Dave, you're going to do mostly anime.
Yep. When are we going to be coming up with the names? Because I also have an idea for, because I kind of want to get like a head start, with the names to watch a lot of these.
So
I also have an idea for a reaction channel. So even if I could watch a couple episodes of each and whatnot, and do a reaction to them.
Okay. As far as starting to come up with our lists, you can start coming up with it as soon as you want. Now we're gonna reveal everything because this thing, the tournament we're doing now is gonna end in I think it's gonna be the last week of June.
Yep.
Then we're gonna bounce right into the next one.
Yep.
Okay. So you could start thinking of stuff. Like I said, Dave, most of your stuff is going to, because I do want to put anime in this because, I don't want to, because even though I know more cartoons than I do anime, there are a lot of anime fans out there and we could attract a different fan base as well.
Yep.
Yep.
So
please put Omni-Man on there.
Okay.
So
I'll take your
you know what I would like to do. I mean, it's not cartoon, but I've seen it all over the place. Is debate what family sitcom in the 90s was better. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Full House. What was it? Roseanne and Family Matters.
Ooh.
Roseanne, Fresh Prince, Full House, or Family Matters?
Yeah. Because there's all that big debate on what, and I think back then it was more based off the sitcom Dad. You know what I mean? How Uncle Phil was to pair, how Winslow was. So I would like to do a debate through that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I mean, I'm down with it.
I'm down.
Because, who wouldn't want to?
We would just have to figure out, a time and place to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, another thing too, and this is another thing, I ran this by Eric a few weeks ago. I haven't had the opportunity to tell you two about it yet. But doing the next tournament, because there's going to be a lot more cartoons involved. We're going to have about 100 cartoons involved.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Wow.
So what do you mean? Wow. You already knew.
Keeping it interesting.
I'm just trying to react live.
Yeah. Well, then
that's going to be a clip. Wow.
Yeah. And then the next clip is going to be what do you mean? Wow. I already told you. But so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of expand, because I already have the categories written out for how we're going to do the next tournament. But we're going to switch it up almost every show. So it's not going to be the same categories every show. It might, one or two might be similar, but because I have 11 different categories written down, but I don't want to do 11 categories each episode.
Right.
Because that's stupid and takes too long. And also, too, because there's going to be a lot more battles, because every cartoon is going to face each other once. So we're going to do more than one battle an episode. And I also want to do more shows. Now, we would record them on Saturday, but Eric would release them during the week. It would just be up to what your guys' schedule is.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty flexible still, so.
Yeah. But it would eliminate any chance, and which is basically what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to eliminate my social life because I don't want one. So
Same.
I have an excuse not to hang out with people.
Sorry, I'm busy. I'm potting.
Yeah. So like that would be something else that we would do, because it would also because if we only did like one battle a week, one episode, one battle a week, it would take us. We'd be doing this for the next
forever.
6 years.
Yeah.
All right. Whereas if we do
a bunch of games, it's a bunch of games, and then whoever has the highest amount of points is making it to the playoffs.
So it's going to be like it's almost going to be like a 100-game season. Like basketball, hockey, baseball.
Yeah.
But it's going to be based on how many points you get, because there is going to be a point system.
Okay.
So
you got the point system figured out?
All right, so here's the rough draft of the point system. Because we're going to do 5 categories for each battle.
Okay.
All right, and we're gonna pick out the 5 categories that we're gonna do. Like I said, I have 11 of them written down. If you sweep your opponent 3-0, the winning team, if they sweep their opponent 3-0, they get 30 points. If they win it in 4. They get 20 points. If they win it in 5, they get 10.
Okay.
Does the losing team get anything?
Well, here's actually what I was thinking. If the losing team gets swept, I'm thinking about taking 10 points away from them.
Okay. What if it's close? Like it's a 2-3.
If it's the loser's not going to get anything, no.
Okay. Alrighty. I like that. That.
So, again, that's kind of the rough draft of what I have right now. We still have time to tweak it if we want to. I mean, I'm pretty much set. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I'm done with that.
I'm down.
But obviously, your guys' opinion matters.
Oh, thanks, does.
Even if I tell Eric it doesn't, I'm actually lying, and it does.
Dang.
If we usually do it 7 or later, I usually have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saying the later the better, honestly.
Well, yeah, because then
not 10 o'clock, but
Yeah. So each episode would be like an hour or like 45 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. No,
whatever we can do. And again, like I said, I want to do like more. I want to do more shows that like Eric can release during the week.
Right.
And then because again, I feel like the more content we have, the more people are going to want to listen or watch. Yeah. It's gonna help build things up. Just like doing this contest thing and having other people involved and a prize involved is gonna really up the ante, and we're gonna we could get more subscribers that way.
Yep.
What you got to do is you call the Cartoons main network, and you're like, "What would you give us to let us, have your guys win?"
Yeah.
Free merch. You're gonna put us up in a studio, and we'll just talk why SpongeBob's the greatest, and Eric will just have to suck it up because then he's making money.
Maybe once we get a little more subs there.
But yeah, so that's the plan for the next one. We still have to get through this one.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
We still got quite a bit to go.
I'm excited for this one. There's still some good competitors. Really good ones.
Yeah. And so next week is SpongeBob and Heathcliff. And then next week we will be recording, but it will be released on May the 10th. Scooby-Doo and Rugrats, which I feel like that is the appropriate one to end the first round with, because honestly, even though, and Shawn, you said it, that like Scooby-Doo should beat Rugrats, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that Scooby-Doo is not going to pull off a sweep. I think it will go all the way to 7.
If it goes all the way to 7, it might win, because cultural impact and legacy, I don't know if.
I don't think Rugrats compete in legacy.
Yeah.
Not in legacy. I think in characters it might.
Yeah. Again, we don't want to give too much away because it's in 2 weeks.
I was gonna say, wait, we have to save this for next week.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, all right. Make sure you follow Shawn on TikTok and Twitch at TCA. TCA X Reaper.
All lowercase. I have
all
to.
lowercase. Make sure
Come
you
watch
follow our
live
wild card on Twitch at TCAX Godsaid95.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you follow Eric and I everywhere except for in the shower. That's kind of creepy.
Depends on who you ask, but yeah. Pretty weird.
Family show, Doug.
Huh?
Family show.
There's no viewers in the chat room. They all left once they found out who won. But yeah, so make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell. Links are always going to be in the description. Join our Discord. 7 p.m. Eastern time every Saturday night for When Toons Combine, the Cartoon Classic.
Share with your friends,
your
family's friends.
Wrestling Through the Years, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time on Friday nights. Make sure you catch Eric on the sports show. He's on a lot because there's a lot of sports to cover.
He'll be live Monday.
Yeah.
Monday we'll be covering NFL draft and NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs.
Yeah. And also make sure you listen to Dangle and Mindy and the Stabcast. Mainly for Dangle. But
that's tomorrow at 3 p.m., right?
No, it's gonna be after 5.
Oh, okay.
Because Mindy's gotta work. But all right, so I think we're good. I've rambled on longer than probably what I needed to ramble on, but gave everybody the information that they need about the next tournament. So anybody that watches this and saw the announcement, just be prepared. I might be asking you to come up to be part of the competition. So have your nose prepared, or have your excuses prepared as to why you can't do it. But all right, I'm Dutchie for MoneyE, for Shawn, for our wild card Dave. We'll see everybody next week for SpongeBob and Heathcliff.
Yep.
See you later, guys.
Later.
Bye, guys.